Success cannot be owned, it can only be rented, and the rent is due every single day. The reason why I chose this quote to start the video is that today's doctrine is pertinent to rent. So let us start with the few basics of rent. Who is landlord? Landlord is a person who is the owner of the property that is to be rented. Who is tenant? Tenant is a person who stays at the rented property and pays the rent against that possession. And who is a trespasser? Trespasser is a person who enters the property, someone else's property, without the authorization. Now let's get on with the doctrine of holding over. When there is a determination of the tenancy or the expiry of the contract or the lease agreement, and the tenant continues to have the possession of that property, then in that case, the if this doctrine comes into the play, that tenant will not be considered as a trespasser solely because the induction of that person into that property was done legally, and that person can only be evicted if an injunction order against that person has been passed, injunction order or a decree. And although there is no right of having the possession by the tenant is not wrong when he holds the property and can only be evicted through administration of law, as the right of holding the possession is juridical. Now, getting on with what is tenant at sufferance? Tenant at sufferance is a very similar term to the doctrine of holding over, but here the one who comes into the possession legally having a lawful title but holds it wrongfully, that person is called to be tenant at sufferance. And it is a mere fiction to avoid the continuance of the possession as a trespasser, and it does not create any legal right or a contract between a landlord or a tenant. It is merely a protection by the statute. That is why it is inaccurately called a statutory tenant, and where he cannot be that person, that tenant cannot be turned out of the property forcefully or otherwise without the eviction order. And such a right to remain in possession when the tenant comes into the such a right to remain in the possession is personal and is incapable of being transferred. Difference between tenancy at sufferance and tenancy at holding over. The mere difference between them is that whenever a person takes the possession of a property after the expiry of the agreement, if that holding over of the possession is done with the consent of the landlord, that person is said to be exercising the doctrine of holding over and the possession continues. And if that is done without the consent, then that tenant is considered as tenant by sufferance. Now, there is there are few implications of the doctrine of holding over. One of which is that when a landlord disagrees with the continuance or renewing of the contract, that tenant can still exercise this doctrine if the rent paid by the tenant to the landlord was duly accepted by the landlord and wasn't rejected or contested in any way. But if the same, but if the rent was paid lately by the tenant for the pre-termination period of the contract, that is not for the renewed period, only for the last month or last year's rent, then that won't be considered as the rent paid for a new contract, and that contract cannot be renewed, and this doctrine cannot be exercised over there. and the representatives and assignees can become tenants by complying with the formalities stated under Section 107 of the Transfer of Property Act, unlike the tenancy by sufferance, where that cannot be, representatives and assignees cannot exercise any right. The terms and conditions of the new tenancy would be the same as the old one. A tenant by holding over can even give effect to the mortgage even after the expiry of the agreement that was the original agreement. And when the original agreement ends, the sublease ends along with it. The tenant by holding over cannot change the purpose and terms and conditions of the original contract. The landlord can unilaterally prefer to extend that period, but that decision of the landlord needs to be contested by the tenant and should be election should be conducted within a reasonable time, otherwise the right of the tenant to contest that is waived off. And what what happens when there is no fixed time of the renewed contract? When there is no specific time that is stated under a clause of the new contract, the time period for the old contract would be the same as what new contract will hold. And what happens when the tenant is forcefully evicted after the expiry of the tenancy? If a tenant is forcefully evicted by a person or a group of person, that person can file for can claim redressal under Section 38 of Specific Relief Act, which provides for permanent injunction against those persons and that who have evicted unlawfully or forcefully, and that injunction against the eviction of the landlord will be helpful for seeking back the possession of that property until the eviction decree is made against that tenant. Although all such points that I just mentioned are covered by the provision of Section 116 of Transfer of Property Act, this provision is covers even those matters that are not governed by the Transfer of Property Act. That would be it for today. Good day.